actually an opportunity that does not come every day in our life. What good fortune, what karma, what pious activities we may have all performed, maybe in this life or in previous life, our lives, to be here this morning and gearing up for such a wonderful opportunity. For myself, joining this movement almost 22 years ago, when we hear about these names like Tamal Krishna Goswami, Japataka Swami, Radhanath Swami, and so many names that you would have heard of or hear about within this movement. Great personality, pure devotees of the Lord, persons who would have dedicated and give every single thing that they possess, their life, ear, their body, their soul, every single thing to Srila Prabhupada. We never thought that, you know what, one day we will get an opportunity to be in the direct association of these individuals. But as we live on, we go on in the process of Krishna consciousness, we see so many things that we thought may have been or had to be a miracle for it to happen. But nevertheless, we are seeing day by day, as the years go by, we are seeing that they are becoming reality more and more as we desire. Krishna is showering His causeless mercy on us, is fulfilling those desires. So as we desire more and more the company, the association of the pure devotees of the Lord, definitely Krishna will reciprocate to our sincere prayer, our sincere wanting want to be in such association. So it has been quite a challenge for His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj to be here with us. There have been some rumor, there have been some delay with the flights, and finally yesterday, night before last, Maharaj would have missed Caribbean airline flight by 2 or 3 minutes. And Caribbean airline they were very harsh. When he appeared at the counter, they were already closed like 2 or 3 minutes before, and they said, that's it. There's no way you can get on the flight, they are closed. So like that, devotees were waiting at the airport yesterday morning, to receive Maharaj, looking for the next flight, see who was coming on that flight. Then the news came that no, he's not coming, he's still in New York. And then we were on the phone for about 4 hours trying to track down Maharaj, where he was in New York. Finally we get hold of Maharaj and we explained the situation on behalf of the devotees here in Guyana, the endeavor and everything else, and Maharaj said no problem, that he will try to get on Delta flight tonight, which was last night. And so was it, that Maharaj arrived here this morning, touching our land. This country that is called Guyana is very blessed. This morning that Maharaj lotus feet touch our wonderful land. And that is a desire that we developed some years ago, that at least once in this present lifetime, for all these wonderful devotees, that we can have them visit and that their lotus feet can purify this land, that Krishna consciousness can bloom in the heart of the citizens or the residents in this land, this place that we call Guyana. So in about another half an hour or so, His Holiness, after traveling whole night, obviously, for those of us who travel, we know what that means, especially someone who is 65 years old. It has been very hectic for him. So we're hopeful that Maharaj will be here in half an hour time. In the meantime, we will continue with the ecstatic kirtan. that you have been experiencing in as much as possible. We will say submerge yourself in the kirtan, the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. After all, there is no better things to do. There is nothing better than that we can even dream about doing other than chanting the holy name of the Lord. So in the meantime, Bhaja Gauranga is getting ready to give us a wonderful kirtan, Gandhara likewise. I would just like to inform you of some of the services, because after the program it will be a rush for everybody to go to Crane. So I would just like to inform you of some of the services that Iskcon Nimai Pandit Study Center is offering at the present moment. We recently confirmed Bhakti Devanand, one of our brahmachari, known as Randy. You can raise your hand so they can see who is that. We established Iskcon Nimai Pandit Study Center, Media Center. So if you need any DVD, MP3, CD, or anything to do with lecture, even if you need Bhakti Charu Maharaj lecture that he will be doing here this morning, you'll beat him up for it. He cannot get it for you. And then we have Bhakti Jagdish, Sudesh. Which one? Jagdish or Sudesh? So everybody call him Sudesh Arung. You can raise your hand so that they can see who is Sudesh. He's in charge of Srila Prabhupada books. So anything to do with Prabhupada books, of course you can always contact the leaders, Kirkrishi Prabhu, Bhaja Gauranga, Kemaraj Prabhu, myself. But nevertheless, he is the one we will still have to direct you to go to him if you want a Bhagavad Gita or a sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. He is all here for Gita Jayanti. We have full sets of Srila Prabhupada books that will be available almost at cost price for some of us, or any one of us, or all of us who wants to flourish our bookshelf with a full set of Srila Prabhupada's book. A full set of Srila Prabhupada books will mean at least complete set of Srimad Bhagavatam, 18 books, 18 thick books, like that, from 1 to 12 canto. Complete set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which means 9 thick book. The Nectar of Devotion, the Bhagavad Gita, and there's a few other small books, like Science of Self-Realization, Life Come From Life, a few other books like that. So these books will be available almost for Gita Jayanti. This is only a Gita Jayanti offer. It will be available almost at cost price. And Jagdish, I'm seeing Dr. Kumar is smiling here. Jagdish will negotiate with you if he will give credit, for students especially. Okay, so news come that Maharaj is coming right now. Lukanan Prabhu, Maharaj vehicle will park direct in front here, so get ready. Somebody get ready with an umbrella so you can shelter Maharaj coming in. The camera people, they can get ready. And of course, there's a few services, other services that we are offering. And still there are a few areas that we need helping. Home programs, Harinam, book distribution in the streets, and like that. So Indra is arriving before Maharaj. So please get the umbrella. Bhaja Gauranga, you can continue with some kirtan. Somebody is kirtan. Hare Krishna. So as Maharaj arrived, we will all stand to welcome him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, So everyone is settled, Paramananda Prabhu? You're good? So everyone can please take your seat as some person can sit under the tent out here. Your Krishna Prabhu. So finally, this is the opportunity that each and every one of us are waiting and longing for, that His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj is finally here in Guyana, and especially here at Iskcon Nimai Pandit Study Center. And to welcome His Holiness here this morning, we'll all loudly, on top of our voice, 3 times, Hari Bol, with our hands. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you very much. His Holiness, as you would have read, little highlights of Maharaj's biography, his life. Born in Bengal, in Calcutta, Jain looking for many years, finally came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, Nectar of Devotion book. Maharaj joined this movement in the mid-70s, immediately take up full-time work, dedicate his entire life at the lotus feet of his own spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Since then, Maharaj would have been preaching, traveling, translating Srila Prabhupada's books back from English to Bengali language for the whole of Bengal. And like that, he is in one of our main Iskcon governing body commission that is directing the spiritual, guiding this society around the world. He's traveling, he's preaching almost all corner of this world. For him to be here in Guyana, such a remote place, probably one of the last places in the world that someone may think of being. Nevertheless, by his causeless mercy and by the blessings and arrangement of Srila Prabhupada, that he wanted this Krishna consciousness movement to go on all over the world. So like that, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj to come all the way to be here to share his blissful association with us. And I'm sure that Maharaj have a lot to offer to each and every one of us here this morning. Turn off your cell phone, and as much as possible, you try to grasp as much as possible the association of the devotee, of the pure devotee, is more or less what they have to say to us. So without any further ado, we'd like to hand the mic over to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj here this morning to make his first presentation here in Guyana. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm very happy to be here today. At least for last 15 years, devotees of New York, the devotees from Guyana who are residents of the United States of America had been asking me to come to Guyana. And at one time, I think I was almost ready to come. Arjunanath?
Arjunanath.
Which year was that you were organizing the Rath Yatra? Anyway, he was not here. So that year I almost was ready to come here. But then something happened, I couldn't make it. And So finally that I have been able to come, I feel very happy about it. Before coming here also, there were many concerns. I took a flight which was arriving here at midnight, and the devotees were telling me it's not safe to come so late at night. I couldn't understand, like, how can airport to the city can be unsafe. And after coming here, I feel that how baseless that fear was. Like, to me, the Guyana seems to be a more peaceful and more safe place than New York City. And what actually impressed me the most as soon as I landed here was the beautiful environment here. It's indeed a very, very wonderful place. And I feel very happy to be here. And now that I'm seeing that so many of you have come to the program, so many of you have accepted Krishna consciousness, I feel very happy. How many of you are chanting Hare Krishna? How many of you are chanting 16 rounds every day? How many of you will start chanting 16 rounds every day from today? Very good. So that is what we are here for. Krishna consciousness movement is here to offer the greatest welfare activity. The Sanskrit word for welfare activity is jive daya. Mercy, jiva means living entity, and daya means mercy. To show the mercy, the ultimate mercy to the living entity is the greatest welfare activity. Like Prabhupada often used to point out that in today's world there is no scarcity of anything. Like especially the Western countries have everything in abundance. They have money, they have all the amenities of comfortable living, like whatever people want, whatever people may want, they have that. And even I'm sure in a small place like Guyana also, you all have all the facilities of life. You have comfortable living, the basic amenities of life. But still, you will see that still you are not happy. Maybe we can put it in this way, that there was a time when some of you thought that it will be wonderful to go to America. That if you could go to America, then your life would become successful. And many of you have gone to America. Now, did your problems get solved? Venukar? This is our material life. We want various things. And we feel that if we get that, then I'll become happy. Then the problems of my life will be solved. I'll be fully content. But the reality is that when you fulfill one desire, immediately another desire comes. One never becomes fully satisfied in this material. Like, let's go back. Like when you were a little boy or a girl, didn't you think that eating chocolate is the source of happiness? How many of you wanted to eat chocolate when you were children? Didn't you think that when you grow up, then you will buy all the chocolate in the market? If you had money, you'd buy all the chocolate in the market, and your happiness was measured by the amount of chocolate you had. But then you grew up and you got chocolates. But then when you grew up, your craving, your desire shifted. Then you don't want chocolate. Then you want something else. And this is what the way everyone is. In the material nature, we want happiness by fulfilling our desire. But the mind's activity is that you fulfill one desire, then you get tired of it. Like, for example, a child plays with a toy. The child sees the toy and is crying. That, "Father, you have to give me this toy." And the father gives him the toy. And he is happy for the time being. But then what happens? He gets tired of the toy. And then he wants something else. Then, when one grows up, he may not want to have his satisfaction, his joy, his happiness may not be limited in getting toys, but it shifts from one kind of toy to another kind of toy. Like when he was a baby, he was playing with toys, but when he grows up, he wants maybe first motorcycle. Then he gets the motorcycle, but then he gets tired of the motorcycle. Then he thinks that he wants a car. Then he gets a car. Then he feels that, well, this is a used car, it's a small car, I want a big car. And this way he gets a big car, he buys a Mercedes. But then he thinks, no, Mercedes is not good enough, I need Rolls Royce. Then he gets a Rolls Royce. Do you think he is fully satisfied getting a Rolls Royce? No. Then he thinks, oh, I need a private jet. And in this way, the desire just keeps on shifting from one to the other. So the first consideration is that, yes, by fulfilling our desires, we get some sort of happiness, but that happiness is not lasting. It doesn't last for very long. It is not permanent. It is temporary. And then another kind of problem starts. He may have all the money, but then his health gives up. He becomes sick. Now, can he be happy? No. When one is sick, when one is suffering, can he enjoy? He may have all the money, he have all the facilities in the world. Therefore, in this way we can see that our real happiness is not in the material acquisition of objects of sense gratification. This information comes from a bona fide spiritual source. After coming to International Society for Krishna Consciousness, how many of you realize that this material nature is full of suffering? Please raise your hand. Huh? So you realize that this material nature, so the point is that the place which is meant for suffering, how can you be happy in that place? Like for example, does anybody go to the prison to enjoy? Did you come across anybody who thinks that he will go to the prison to enjoy? I don't know about Guyana, but in the rest of the world, well, nobody wants to go to the prison. Why? Because in the prison, one is punished. So this material nature is a place of punishment. Material nature is a place of, it's a prison house. Dukkhalayam ashvashatam. Krishna is telling that in Bhagavad Gita. Just as nobody goes to the prison to enjoy, nobody comes to the material nature to enjoy. But one wants to enjoy the material nature. Why? That is called illusion. Everybody knows that going to the prison, he is going to be subjected to punishment. So there is no enjoyment in the prison. But the strange factor about this material nature is, although it's a place of suffering, whoever comes here, he thinks that he is going to enjoy. And that is called the illusion or Maya. It is an energy of the Lord which makes a living entity feel that way. One is illusion to think that he is going to enjoy. But when one properly thinks about it, when one properly analyzes his situation in the material nature, then he realizes that this is not a place which is meant for enjoyment. Like in one aspect is that this material nature is a place of suffering. Everywhere here is subjected to suffering. And the desire for enjoyment or craving for enjoyment or endeavor for enjoyment is simply illusory. And the other consideration is that this body that we have is actually an instrument for suffering. It's an instrument to receive pain. Everyone is thinking that he is going to enjoy through this body. But what is the reality? The reality is that this body is not meant for enjoyment, but this body is meant for suffering. It's an instrument for suffering. How can we understand that? Just consider, take any part of your body. Which part will you select if I ask you? Take any part of your body. Hand? Okay. What's your name? Haridev. Okay. Haridev has selected his hand. Not that we want that to happen to Haridev, but theoretically let us consider to this hand, in how many different ways you can inflict pain. Haridev, can you think of some way to give pain to your hand?
Someone comes and chop off a finger.
Someone?
Comes and chop off a finger.
Oh my God. Somebody comes and chops off. Anyway, I say we don't want that. It's just a theoretical consideration. What will happen if just consider your hand, in how many different ways you can give pain. Like Haridev thought of one. somebody comes and chops off his finger. What will you get? Or somebody comes and smashes it with a hammer. Somebody comes and burns it with fire. Can you think of any other means, any other way?
A little needle.
Just a little needle and just... He's saying even some mosquito bites. So many ways this hand can receive pain. But now you consider in how many different ways you can give pleasure to your hand. Haridev? By serving Krishna. Well, that's a very big leap. But to the hand, to your hand, how many different ways you can give pleasure? Okay. Now, if I say that, okay, Haridev, if somebody gives a nice massage to your hand and somebody with a knife starts to cut your fingers, will you accept that proposal? No. So we can see that compared to the way we can receive pain through this body, the way to receive pleasure is practically negligible. Now this principle actually applies to every single part of your body. You can take your hand, you can take your little finger, you can take your ears, you can take your nose, you can take your toe, you can take your leg. And to every single part of your body, you can inflict pain in thousands of different ways. But when it comes to receiving pleasure, practically nil. So what is the conclusion? Our scriptures are concluding that this material body is a beautiful instrument to receive pain. This body is designed to receive pain. For the time being, when the body is youthful, when the body is healthy, and when the surrounding environment are conducive, then you can get some so-called pleasure through this body. But that is not going to last for very long. That's why Krishna is saying, Ashvashatam. Ashvashatam means non-permanent. Whatever pleasure there is in this material nature is only temporary. Now when you know that you are at a wrong place and you are in a wrong situation, what should you try to do? Would you like to be there?
Get out.
Huh?
Get out.
Get out, right, get out. Now the question is, how to get out? Say you are in a prison. Now you can get out of the prison in two ways. You know, say you are in a prison, and if you want to get out of the prison, there is one way of getting out of the prison is, like you can dig a tunnel, right, out of the prison, and you may escape. Sometimes these big criminals, they also make arrangements, like they get helicopter to come, and they climb up the helicopter and run away from the prison. There are various ways one can run away from the prison in this way. But will it be really safe to run away like that? You may run away from the prison by digging a tunnel, but will you be able to live peacefully after that? The police will be after you. You may have to live in the forest or hide in a cave or stay in a ruin to run away from the police. And if the police catches you, then what will happen? If the police catches you, then you will be sent back to the prison and the punishment will be even more serious, even more severe. So that is one way of running away out of the prison. Another way of getting out of the prison is you understand why you are in the prison. And then you appeal to the king that, my lord, I'm sorry, I made a mistake and I promise I will not commit the same mistake again. I'll never break the law. I will be completely surrendered unto you. And I will commit myself just to serve you. And if the king is generous and just, then what will happen? The king may give you pardon, amnesty. King is okay. He has rectified his mistake and let him go out. Now, out of these two ways of getting out of the prison, which one is better?
Second.
The second one. Like the first one, to begin with, it is so troublesome. To dig a tunnel in the prison is very, very difficult. Or to make other arrangements to it, so risky, it's so dangerous, and it's so difficult. But the other one is quite simple. All you have to do is just write to the king or appeal to the king through somebody to forgive you for your mistake. Now similarly, if the material nature is a prison house, you can get out of this material nature through these two possible means. One means is by digging the tunnel. By digging the tunnel means by means of your own endeavor, you try to get out of the prison. But that will not work. This point has been very beautifully described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, Ye anya aravindaksha vimukta maninas tajyasta bhavad abhishuddha buddhayo arujya krichena param padam tata patanti adha anadrita yushmalam. That is, Je anna aravindaksha vimukta maninas. In order to become liberated. Now, liberated means getting out of the prison. Liberated, becoming free. If somebody wants to become free from this material bondage, disregarding the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, they may get out of the material nature and go beyond this material nature. But patanti adha, they fall down again into the material nature because anadrita yushmadunhaya, anadrita yushmadunhaya, because they have disregarded your lotus feet, my Lord. Because they have disregarded the lotus feet of Krishna, they can never actually get out of the material nature. They can never become free from the bondage of this material nature. They will fall down. They will fall down means they will again, although they may have been temporarily liberated, but they will fall down to the material nature and their suffering condition will become even more intense. On the other hand, there is another possibility, as I said, surrender to the king. Now, if this material nature is a prison house, then what is our crime? why have we fallen into this material nature and why are we suffering? Why are we suffering in material nature? What is the cause of our coming to the material nature? The cause has been analyzed is that we have rejected the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A criminal, who is a criminal? What is the crime? Is there any lawyer here? So what is the definition of crime? Do you know? The definition of crime is to break or go against or act against the law. The law is there. If you break the law, that will be crime. Take any law. Like here, the cars are meant to move on the left-hand side of the road. Right-hand side of the road. So the car is meant to move on the right-hand side of the road. If you drive the car on the left-hand side of the road, you are breaking the law. When the green light is there, the car is supposed to go, and when the red light is there, the car is supposed to stop. When you drive the car when the red light is there, that is breaking the law. That is a crime. I don't know about Guyana, but in New York City, that's a big crime. Like if you, this traffic rules violation is a crime and you can be sentenced for it. And there are, and of all, so that means the crime is to break the law. And who gives the law? The state gives the law. The king is the lawmaker. In a country, who makes the, of course nowadays it's all democracy, there is no king. But we can say the government makes the law. But the ultimate law is made by whom? Who makes the ultimate, who is the ultimate king? Krishna. And Krishna has given the law. Now, if we do not accept Krishna, then that is breaking the law. If you don't accept the king, that is the worst kind of crime. So why are we in this material nature? How many of you can give me the answer to that question? Okay, let me see. Okay, you. Yeah, why are we?
Because we fail to recognize the king.
Yeah, because we failed to recognize the king. We did not accept the king. Define the king means define his law. So why are we in the prison house of this material nature? Because we have rejected Krishna. Now if you want to get out of this imprisonment, then what do you have to do? What is the simplest way of getting out of this suffering condition?
Accept the king and follow his law.
Yeah, accept the king and follow his order, follow his law. Now, Krishna consciousness means to become aware of Krishna. Krishna consciousness. It begins with that word, become aware of Krishna. Who is Krishna? Who is Krishna?
Supreme Personality of God.
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. How many of you accept it? Please raise your hand. Those who accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Then when I asked you, who is Krishna, why are you silent? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead means the Supreme Proprietor and the Supreme Controller. So, Krishna is the King of Kings. He is the Supreme King. And we are living in His kingdom. Should we accept Him? Yes. Recognize Him and accept Him and act according to that understanding. That is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. How many of you have accepted Krishna consciousness? Please Raise your hand. Very good. That means, let me go point by point. Have you accepted him? Did you recognize him as the supreme proprietor and supreme controller? Yes or no?
Yes.
How many of you think no? Okay. Krishna is the supreme proprietor and he is the supreme controller. Are you able to control anything? Actually, in reality, we are not. To try to control ourselves is illusion. Mind. Therefore, if we know that we are not the controllers, but Krishna is the controller, then what should we do? If you know that in the house the father is the boss, what should you do? Surrender to the father. Therefore, the first consideration is of Krishna consciousness is to recognize that Krishna is the supreme controller and surrender unto him. And surrender unto me, he means what? Listen to what he says and act accordingly. Now you may say, how can I listen to Krishna? There are two ways of listening to Krishna, or three ways I would say. The first way is by hearing the representatives of Krishna, the devotees of Krishna. How did you become aware of Krishna? How many of you became aware of Krishna by coming in contact with the devotee of Krishna? Please raise your hands. How many of you got to know Krishna by hearing from a devotee? Right? So that is the first way we get to recognize Krishna. The next way is by hearing Krishna's own words. And Krishna's words are Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself spoke. And also by hearing what others have to say about Krishna. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third way is to hear, to listen to Krishna in your heart. Krishna is in your heart, and if you surrender to him and if you listen carefully, you will see that Krishna is guiding you. But that, of course, we take that step, that measure rather carefully. Because often we may be bewildered to recognize which is Krishna's voice and which is our mind. So, therefore, it is safer to depend upon those two considerations. One is listening to the devotees of Krishna and hearing about Krishna's instructions from the scriptures, sadhu and shastra. And then sadhu, a special sadhu or sadhus are the guru, who we accept as Krishna's representative, and we accept their words as Krishna's words. And if you do that, then what will happen? How many of you have done that? Please raise your hands. Don't feel shy. Okay, how many of you have accepted Krishna consciousness? Please raise your hand. Okay. Now, ever since you have accepted Krishna consciousness, did your life improve or not? How many of you think or feel that your condition has improved since you have accepted Krishna consciousness? That means, have you become happy by accepting Krishna consciousness?
Yes.
How many of you think that you have become happy since you have accepted Krishna consciousness? And how many of you think that your heart has become satisfied? That is a real sign of happiness. There are two types of happiness. A little child gets a chocolate, he is happy. No, but that is not the real happiness. The real happiness is because the child gets a chocolate and his tongue is satisfied. His stomach may not. But the real source of happiness or real contentment is when your heart becomes content. By accepting Krishna consciousness, by surrendering to Krishna, by accepting His instructions and guidance, what happened to your heart? Did your heart feel content? Did your heart feel satisfied? Did your heart feel happy and joyful? How many of you think that you're feeling that? Okay. Now tell me, can this state of your inner condition, your state of your heart, state of your consciousness, can this be bought with any amount of money? No. It may not be understandable right now, but the simple point will be, I'll just make in short, I'll just make one point to make you understand this. At the time of death, can any amount of money save you from that situation? At the time of death, the best of the doctors, can they help your situation? At the time of death, most advanced medicines, can they save you from that situation? At the time of death, all these equipments that they have created to prolong the life, can they help your situation? No. At the time of death, what can save you? How many of you know the answer? Please raise your hands, those who know the answer. I actually expected that every hand should go up. At the time of death, who can help you? Who can save you from this?
Lord Mukunda.
Krishna. Yes, Mukunda. Only Krishna can save you at that time. At this point, we may not understand that, but a time will come. In all of our lives, all of us will have to face that situation, the time of death. And at that time, who can save us? Who can save us? Once again, I'll ask the question and I want to see how many hands go down. Those who know the answer, please raise your hand. It's better, but still all the hands. So please, anyway, it doesn't matter. Please consider these points and just recognize the fact that at the time of death, at the most critical time of your life, it is Krishna only who can help you, who can save you, no one else, nothing else. So that is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Now tell me, if you take all the wealth of this world in one side and Krishna's mercy, Krishna's support, Krishna's protection on the other side, which side will be heavier?
Krishna.
Which will be more?
Krishna.
Krishna. So take all the wealth of this world. If you get all the wealth of this world, will it be able to save you from your critical condition of death?
No.
But at the time of death, can Krishna save you?
Yes.
So which is more valuable? Krishna's support or all the wealth of this world?
Krishna.
So what will you go for? Go for all the wealth of the world or Krishna?
Krishna.
How many of you really want to go for Krishna? Please raise your hand. Very good. Thank you very much. So that is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Now tell me, if you want to benefit others, what are you going to do to him or her?
Give them $1 million.
Okay. How many of you are going to give him $1 million? But again, we go back to the same point. Will $1 million solve his problems? But how many of you will give him Krishna? How many of you think that by giving Krishna, you can really do the greatest welfare activity, the greatest benefit to the person? So now tell me, what is the greatest welfare activity?
Giving Krishna.
Giving Krishna to everybody. Now how many of you got Krishna? Please raise your hand. Or theoretically, yes? Please raise your hand. How many of you got Krishna? And do you want that others also should get Krishna?
Yes.
Then what are you going to do? Are you going to give it to them?
Yes.
Okay, so just once again, I will ask you to, those who have got Krishna, please raise your hand. Now, you see those who did not raise their hands, and make it a point to give Krishna to them. Because that is how you are going to benefit in a real sense, in a real way. Thank you all very much. At the same time, at the end of I want to conclude the presentation with a very simple awareness. We all are here today. We all have Krishna today in this remote place as, what's it? Yeah, Prabhupada. Prabhupada? Prabhupada Kripa. Prabhupada Deva. Okay, Prabhupada Deva. Like as Prabhupada Deva the Prabhu saying, and that the remote part of this world in Guyana. So in this remote part of this world, we have got Krishna, we have got Krishna consciousness. How? Because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. So let's recognize this fact. Let's recognize that it's simply due to Prabhupada's mercy that Krishna consciousness has spread all over the world, and we are getting an opportunity to get Krishna. And in order to please Srila Prabhupada, we must try to accept Krishna consciousness with all sincerity and distribute Krishna consciousness to everyone. Thank you very much. All glory is to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your wonderful presentation here this morning, and most amazing. When myself and Giri Krishna Prabhu chose that topic, Krishna consciousness, the highest welfare work, we didn't have a clue what Maharaj would have said. And of course, we had some ideas in mind, but this is a different dimension, completely on a different level, but it's very, very simple. I'm thinking that each and every one of us are convinced we should go there and give Krishna to everyone. It is the highest welfare work. You cannot do anything else better for anyone else or anybody or even for ourselves in this world. So we still have a few minutes more if there's any question for discussion, something that is not clear about the topic, something that you need to know a little bit more. This is your opportunity. So is there any question? Anyone? So I have a question, Maharaj. I'm just thinking that what are some of the simple ways that we can go about engage in this highest welfare activities? What are some practical ways? What are some of the things that we can do? Thank you.
Yeah. You see, there are two considerations, achar and prachar. We act ourselves, we practice ourselves, we accept the process, and the other aspect is, after we have received it, then we distribute it. The first aspect, practicing aspect, is achara. and distribution aspect is prachara. Now both should be there. Like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to Haridas Thakur, he told him that you are the real Acharya. Because by your own action, you teach and you preach. So, to distribute Krishna consciousness or to distribution of Prabhupada's mercy, to benefit others, like in the welfare activity that you mentioned, like first consideration is that we have to act, most, or at least, with all sincerity. We must act with sincerity. That means we must practice with sincerity. Prabhupada gave the process very simple. It's a very simple process actually. Accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Surrender to Him. The way to surrender to Him is by chanting the holy name. And in order to practice the process properly, we have to be pure. Therefore, we follow the four regulative principles, read Srila Prabhupada's books, remain in the association of devotees, and render devotional service. That's about all it takes. We don't have to do some superhuman activity, or we don't have to do something absolutely unusual. Like generally, to practice spiritual process in early India, in the early days, one had to go away from home, from human habitation, and go to a remote place in the middle of a jungle or in the cave of a mountain. Sometimes they used to go even underwater, like Sobharish. He went underwater to practice the process. But in this age, you don't have to do anything. Like wherever you are, sthane sthitva shruti vratam, wherever you are, whether you are in Guyana, whether you are in America, whether you are in India, whether you are in Japan, you don't have to change your situation. You can just be wherever you are. But we simply have to follow the process. Like chanting, does it take any extraordinary arrangement? No. We can sit at home, even lying in bed we can chant. We can read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada has created the arrangement of association of devotees through Iskcon, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it's very, very simple. Like, anyway, how many of you are practicing Krishna consciousness here? Please raise your hand. Okay, very good. Like, is it difficult for you to practice it? Did you find it difficult? Haridev? Do you find it difficult? Huh? You don't find it difficult. When do you chant how many rounds you're chanting? 2 rounds. When do you chant? Mostly in the evening. Okay. So you have time enough to chant. Do you find it difficult to chant?
Yes, with all distractions around.
Okay, very good point. Very honest submission. Very honest admission. When all kinds of distractions are there, then it becomes difficult. So, yes, that is there. That's very, very true. But the thing is, the point is, anybody, even a child, how old are you? Even a 10-year-old child can chant Hare Krishna. There are some little boys there. How many of you are chanting? Raise your hands. What's your name? Yes? Arun. Arun, how many rounds do you chant? 2 rounds. How old are you? 12. And what's your name? How old are you? Huh? Okay. And how many rounds do you chant? True? Okay. Very good. So these little boys are chanting. Well, although it is just 2 rounds, doesn't matter. They're chanting. So you consider seriously whether there is any difficulty in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Can anybody say that it's so difficult that I cannot chant? Will anybody say that? How many of you are not chanting Hare Krishna? Please raise your hand. Don't feel shy. Anyway, I know you're feeling. I know Guyanese people are very shy. But just consider this point. Is it difficult? And the answer will be no. But what is the benefit? I try to explain what's the benefit. This chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra will deliver you from the cycle of birth and death. What is the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna? In plain and simple words I can say that if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerely, you won't have to come back to this material nature again. And what will happen to you? You will go back to the spiritual sky. Just chant Hare Krishna and you will go back to Godhead. That's the assurance Srila Prabhupada gave. That's the assurance Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. That's the assurance Krishna gave. You chant your holy name and Jadgatvana Nivartante Satthamu Paramama. If you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you'll go back to the spiritual sky and from there you'll never come back. And what's so wonderful about the spiritual sky? That you'll find out when you go there. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, any other question?
Hare Krishna.
Power gun.
Hare Krishna.
Is there any other question? Yes, please.
Haridas Prabhu.
Even we are pursuing Krishna consciousness. We are trying to practice Krishna consciousness. We're still feeling different pains and sufferings. Just like the example you give, if somebody prick us in the hand, we'll feel a pain. If somebody smash our hand, we'll feel a pain. There are different types of suffering we feel. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. You see, we may have accepted the process of Krishna consciousness, but we immediately do not achieve perfection. The first stage is practicing stage. We have our body consciousness in one hand and Krishna consciousness on the other hand. As long as we have the body consciousness, the pain caused by material condition will affect us. But when we become fully Krishna conscious, then no matter whatever happens to the body will not affect us. The point can be clarified in this way. Have you seen in an operation theater, the doctor, surgeon is doing the open heart surgery. His ribs are priced open. Right? His heart is taken out. Does he feel any pain? Why not? Because of anesthetics. Now what does anesthetics do? Do you know what anesthetics does? Yeah, no, anesthetics actually stops the activity of the nerves. The nerves are carrying the impressions to the brain center. Now when the nerves are inactive, the informations are not transmitted to the brain. That means consciousness is withdrawn from the body. Because there is no body consciousness, that's why the feeling of pain is not there. Right? So, now this is an artificial way of withdrawing our consciousness from the body through the anesthetics. But then what will happen is that they will, soon after that, when the effect of the anesthetics will stop, then the pain will be registered. Now, you see, it's all a matter of consciousness. When the consciousness is flowing through the body, we are subjected to the awareness of the body. Whatever is happening to the body is affecting us. But when the consciousness is withdrawn from the body, whatever happens to the body we will not feel. Now Krishna consciousness means the entire consciousness is now projected towards Krishna. Therefore, at that stage, there is no body consciousness. So because we still have our body consciousness, that's why we are subjected to, the feelings of pleasure and pain of the body. But by proper practicing of the process, we'll be able to transcend that. That's the first consideration, first point. The second point is, yes, things happen to devotees. Devotees also go through physical pain, sickness, and various other conditions. But the devotees do not become affected by that because of Sri Krishna consciousness. A normal person is going through certain physical difficulties, and a devotee going through the same physical difficulty. The degree will vary. The devotee, he will take it like, okay, it's happening. It's happening to the body. Therefore, you will see that so many devotees, in spite of getting very, very serious physical ailments, they are not affected by that. I have seen many devotees. So, it is not that in the life of a devotee, physical difficulties will not come. It will come, but he will not be affected by that. And in this respect, Prabhupada is giving the example that, you see, what it is actually is a karmic reaction. Whatever is happening to our body is a matter of karmic reactions. Now, in the life of a devotee also the karmic reactions happen, but the devotee doesn't become affected by that. And Prabhupada is giving the example of a fan that has been switched off. It is turning. The fan is moving, right? But there is no power there. It's a process of coming to a standstill. Alright. Okay, there was another question here. Somebody raised their hand. Oh yeah. The mic is not on.
Switch on.
Oh, Hare Krishna Maharaj. On the subject of highest welfare and the distribution of Krishna consciousness to as many people as possible, we were doing a little bit of books distribution at one of the universities. There are many students there that have been seeing us on a regular basis. And so they're coming forth now on their feet, finding us, finding a little bit comfort, talking to us. And so there was a question that was raised that I wasn't certain that, and I didn't feel quite happy with the answer that I was able to provide. Of course, persons are always very busy, so you're trying to give them a precise an answer, and at the same time as profound an answer. The question was, how can we prove God? How can we prove Krishna? And
so tell me, what was your answer?
well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And so I suggested to them that as my spiritual master, whom I as he has suggested, take to the process as an experiment, where over 6 months you do these 4 regulated principles and you chant Hare Krishna, and you'll be able to perceive and realize Krishna from within. And that is what I have accepted from the time I took the Krishna consciousness. But of course, I wasn't speaking to someone who had any reference for Krishna or Krishna consciousness like that. And so, in as much as it might have went forward to that person, I'm thinking that it was, might have been a little bit over them. I was looking for something a little bit more simplified that they can,
Yeah, very good. You see, there are various levels of seeing. When it's a question of seeing, the preliminary consideration of seeing is through our eyes. Now, higher than that is seeing through your intelligence. Spiritual reality cannot be perceived with our senses, but one faculty can reach that domain, that is intelligence. And yes, we cannot see Krishna with our eyes, with our material eyes. But if we apply our intelligence properly, then we can see Krishna. How? Prabhupada gave a very simple answer to that. How? Do you have a father? Did he have a father? Did he have a father? Did he have a father? Now, in this way, when you go to the Supreme, who is the father of the final father? Can you deny that there was a final father? You can't deny that. So he is the Supreme Personality of God. Another way of looking at it is, this is an anecdote which goes on in the incidents in relation to Sir Isaac Newton. Undoubtedly, he is the father of modern science. Now, Newton actually used to believe in God. But Newton had an atheistic friend who didn't believe in God. And often they used to have disagreement and arguments. Newton used to try to prove to him, or explain to him that God is there. But his friend would not accept it. So one day he came to the laboratory of Newton and he found the model of the solar system, which is where the different planets are moving in different velocity, with different velocity by some ear and liver arrangements. So Newton asked him, his friend, seeing it, he was very amazed. He said, Newton, who made this? Newton said, nobody made this. He said, come, you're joking. Tell me, who made this? And Newton just kept on telling, nobody made this, nobody made this. Then finally Newton told him that, look, when I show you this simple model and say no one made this, you don't accept. But when I point out to the night sky with innumerable stars and planets maintaining such a beautiful order, and I tell you that there must be a creator behind that, you don't want to accept it. See how stupid you are. So this is how, the point is that yes, by applying our intelligence, we can see God. that seeing may not tally with our visual perception. But that is because with our eyes, what can we see? With our eyes, we can't even see the closest object to our eyes. Can you see your own eyelid? What is closest to your eye? Your own eyelids. Can you see it? And you are so confident of your visual perception. There are so many things we cannot see. Even in this material plane, what can we see actually? We see earth, we see water, we see fire. Air, a gross material object, we can't see it, but we can feel it. When the air blows, we feel that, and this is how we can see air is there. Ether, we cannot see. Can you see your mind? Do you have a mind? Yes. How do you know? Through your intelligence. All right. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. It's time for those few questions. And I'm sure that as the request goes for many of the devotees, that so many people here love His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj Kirtan. And I felt that it will be injustice to many of us that if we do not hear a little of Maharaj Kirtan, just to probably increase our hankering a little before the Arti. Maharaj will do a little Kirtan, and then we will go for Arti. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
This way. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bring a chair. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama,